Hey guys, welcome to D Mace. This is a random D Mace your ranter, and today I just want to talk a few minutes about the Queen Charlotte Netflix story. It's a Bridgerton story. So I actually watched that, and it was actually pretty darn good. Watching the story of Queen Charlotte. So in the beginning there was the Bridgerton story, that has Queen Charlotte in it. Just viewing her and different things of that nature. But this kind of focuses in on her life when she's younger, and how she got her start and how she ended up with King George. Um, but this is a very interesting take on it. She was pretty much, and for those of you that have not watched it, please know, spoiler alert. So if you're watching this and you have not seen it, you want to watch it, log off now and then come back later after you've watched it. Spoiler alert. So what happens is it follows her story, and I believe that at this particular point in the story, she's a teenager. She's now being basically sold because back in that day, they used to do things like for dowries and for the male of the family had the head of the household had the authority over the women back then, and they would sell their sisters and daughters and things like that for marriage, for posterity, and all those kinds of things. And they would pretty much do it for a good name or whatever the cases may be. Anyway, this is where it picks up. And she is on a carriage with her brother, and her brother, because her parents are dead, are going to King George's palace because her brother has made a deal with the palace and basically sold her into this marriage. She is, of course, enraged and she's trying to get out of it, but she can't get out of it. And her brother's just like, look, this is happening. So I don't care what you think about it or how you feel about it. This is happening. So she gets to Buckingham Palace, or Buckingham House as they call it, and she's still trying to escape. But what happens is she ends up running into George while she's trying to escape, and she doesn't realize it's George until he reveals it. So it's a really, really good story. You have to check it out. But the things that I did like about this was I did like how now they kind of focusing in on George a little bit more to find out who he is. And of course, this is surrounding the story of the Mad King. It's really touching, really sad, and really sweet watching this, because once she gets past her trying to run away, she falls in love with George. George falls in love with her, but George is trying to protect her from his madness. And he doesn't want her to know it, or doesn't want her to see him like this. So he puts her in one house and he goes to another house. And he says it's for her, for her protection. But anyway, she is relentless because she's like, look, this is my husband. We just got married. I need to see him. So after many, many things have taken place, she finally gets to see George. She gets to him and she finds him in the observatory. And there he's like with the stars and the moons and everything like that. And she's really forcing him, like, look, we're married. You're trying to get rid of me, and I'm paraphrasing. You're not going to get rid of me. So it then is revealed that he has this bipolar, what we call bipolar today, and this sickness, and they call it madness back then. So it reveals that he has this madness, and so the sweet thing about this is that she then figures out a way to deal with his madness, because in this time he's going through different little spells and in and out and things like that. She finds a way to connect with him in this time of madness. And so what she does is, because he also loves farming, he loves to get out there and farm. That's, I guess, kind of therapeutic to him. When he first met her, he told her, I know I'm the king, but I'm just George to you. You just call me George. I'm just George. So when she calls him to kind of reel him in when he has these mad moments, is she calls him just George the farmer. She says just George the farmer, and it kind of brings him back to his senses. It's really sweet. It's such a really sweet story to see, and see how she does this. And so they also have this other place that's in their bedroom, under the bed because he always says, like, when he's having those mad moments, he says Venus and the stars and everything are coming after him and they're chasing him, and he's having that moment. So anyway, what she did is she got up under the bed. Well, he was under the bed first, and she got up under there with him because that's their way of warding off the stars and constellations and things from finding him. So what happens is when he has this mad moment, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to be dragging on. When he has this mad moment, she says, just George, the farmer. And she goes under the bed and she says, come under here, so that they can't find us, so that the stars can't find you. And he gets under there. And it kind of brings him back to who he is. Very, very interesting story. I don't know if how true that is or, but Shonda Rhimes does a dynamite job of writing this story. Even as she's older, even when like it pans and it flashes to when they're older, and there's a point where even in the older stage, she still goes under the bed and she says, "Hey, just George," when he's having his moment. Just George Farmer, come under here. And he goes under there and it brings him back. So it's really, really sweet and awesome and beautiful to see how she has connected and decided to deal with his madness, because his mother has prescribed. She was trying to get all kinds of help from him. She was getting doctors and this, that, and the other. And this is one real doctor, man, is evil. This dude is doing everything he can to torture this man in the name of trying to help him. But when Queen Charlotte finds out, she gets him out of there. She's like, "No, we're gonna deal with this. We're gonna deal with this." And it's really interesting to see how she deals with this particular madness. So it's a really good story. It's a lot more dynamics to it. It's with the children and them trying to make sure that they're having errors and things like that in their children, because they had about 13 children, I believe, and they were not producing any errors, and they were trying to get this done. So there's that aspect of it. But I think the thing that really stood out for me was her relationship with George and how she dealt with his madness and how she took control of it basically and said, "Hey, this is how we're going to deal with this. I can't stop the madness from coming, but we can certainly work through it when it comes." So it's really interesting. Shout out to Shonda Rhimes, dynamite job. Bridgerton's a good story. Queen Charlotte's a good story. When you check it out, it's on Netflix. Let me know what you think. Um, like, share, comment, subscribe. Certainly look forward to hearing from your point of view of it. Again, great story, great story, great story. Let me know what you think about it. Have a great day, guys. I'm D Mace the Ranter. Have a good one.